Tonight I'm gonna talk about Christian surveillance. That's it? The pronunciation? Surveillance. Thank you, Bob. Christian surveillance. What is Christian surveillance? Is to be aware of your actions, is to be aware what you are thinking, what you're doing, and what you need to do. So Jesus recommended to us. What was his recommendation? Watch and pray so you don't fall into temptation. Recommended Jesus in Matthew. So watch and pray. This is very simple. This is everybody tells all the time. But what does it mean? What Jesus was trying to say to us when he said, watch and pray. What do we need to watch? How to watch? So we need to watch our thoughts, our feelings, the words that we say, the actions that we do. We need to pay attention in what we are doing. Jesus was talking about our, in a spiritual way for us, that we need to pay attention in every minute of our lives, in every action, because all our actions bring a reaction. And we are not alone. We are always interacting with other people. So our actions, our words, or even our thoughts, because when we think, we create the energy, and this energy is going to achieve the person, the situation that we're thinking. We start thinking, we start create with our energy, the energy of our think. So everything can cause a reaction. So if we want to be part of the transformation of our planet, we need to be this transformation ourselves. It needs to start with us. So Jesus was always telling, paying attention in what you do. Pay attention if what you are doing is the same that what you are telling people to do. If it's the same that you are studying and trying to teach other people, you are doing what you are supposed to do or what you believe is the right thing to do. Jesus wants us to pay attention every day in everything, especially on our thoughts, because this is hard to, it's really hard, how can I say, I lost the word, to control. It's hard to control. When you see, you're already thinking, so it's really hard to control our thoughts. So I think it's the hardest, because you can think better things, but not do. It's a step. But you need to try not think about bad things. So you don't think, you don't do, because even if you don't take the action, but you're still thinking, this energy is gonna make at least the person or the situation, especially the person, is not gonna feel very well, because it's gonna receive that energy. So how to watch? Paying attention every minute, every day. And so when a person comes to me and say, what should I do in this situation? Sometimes I don't know, but then I tell her, try to think what Jesus would do. I know we are very far away from him, but we know what we should do. Sometimes it's really hard and we can't, but we know what is the right thing to do. So let's watch. Let's pay attention every day in our lives. And see how we can be aware of what we are doing. Why watch? Jesus said, so you don't fall into temptation. Why? Because I put this picture because I think it's somehow similar that we have every day. We have many spirits, familiar spirits, our guardian angel, always trying to help us and give us directions, and he gives us inspiration all the time. But we also have the other ones that doesn't want us to be very happy and want us to fall with them. So we need to watch and think when that thinking comes to us of a bad action, a bad choice. Think, is that the right thing I should do? Because you're always going to have a good inspiration, but you're also going to have a bad. So you have to choose. If you are aware of this, if you stop for a minute and think about you're probably going to choose the right. But if you do the things without thinking, without reflection, you're probably going to just go with the everyday, and you're going to follow your instincts and bad tendencies, and then you probably is going to end choosing the bad. So what is the temptation? Those voices, do this. But then the other voice said, you really think you should be doing this? If you were you in that place, what would you do? What would you feel? What would you think? We're always going to have our conscience telling us the right thing. We always know what is the right thing to do. But sometimes we don't listen. But deep inside we know. Always. Always. Because we have this help in our lives. So, pay attention. Pay attention to ourselves first, in order not to establish mental attunement with inferior spirits, incarnated or not. What would say? Those bad friends that give us bad examples, bad suggestions, and somehow we follow, I don't know why. Let's think about, even I would say, not just the disincarnated, but the incarnated, that sometimes take us with them to a bad place. So let's not to establish this mental attunement with them. We know what's the right thing to do. Let's try. Let's get involved with the good things around us, with the good examples, with the good people. If a person do bad things, maybe this person is not the right person to be by your side. You need to think about, in order not to create difficulties and complications. Because sometimes we are difficult people. And we create a lot of complications in our lives that we don't need. But we create because we are complicated. So let's simplify instead of create all these difficulties. Not to provoke bad reactions in our fellow beings, because people want revenge sometimes because they feel hurt. Let's not hurt, so we don't have to deal with revenge. We don't have to deal with envy. We don't have to deal with all those bad feelings. Let's not provoke bad reactions. Jesus said, give the other cheek. Yeah? I'll say other face. No, other cheek. In order not to give the wrong response to the stimulation and natural tests that earthly life gives us. What do we need? We need to be humble. We need to accept our trials, because most of the time we chose those trials, even though we don't remember. But most of the time we chose. Some of them we couldn't choose. That's true. God said, no, you have to, and that's it. But especially us that we are here, I believe that most of the time we chose all the trials and expiations. So we need to accept them. Stop complaining. Because if you complain, you lose all the achievement that you have. You're not going to get the merit if you do something complaining. You have to stop complaining and accept. Because once you accept, things get clearly somehow. Try. Sometimes we have a problem, it's terrible, we don't know how to deal with this problem, and everything seems so dark. But the moment that you accept that there's nothing you can do, because sometimes there's nothing you can do, you need to accept, things get more clear. It's like that when you lift a weight from your shoulders. When you accept that, sometimes there's nothing you can do. You accept. So let's not give the wrong response to those challenges that we have in our lives. And to others, remember, we are not alone. We are always dealing with people, and sometimes it's not that easy. So to not follow their mistakes. Don't accept their bad suggestions. Remember, this is especially with teenagers, but sometimes even us adults, we follow the wrong path by the suggestions, and you say, oh, that person seems so happy. I'm going to try. We know what we should do. We know. So let's not going to follow their mistakes. Sometimes people say the occasion makes the thief. It's an expression in Portuguese, a ocasião faz o ladrão. And let's not think about this. Let's think that we know what's the right thing to do, and it doesn't matter if we have the opportunity. We are not going to do the wrong thing just because we had the opportunity. Because we know that many people, they don't do bad things just because they didn't have the opportunity. Once they have, it's really hard to deal with temptation. But we need to be strong, to not let them to harm us spiritually and morally. Like I said, if a person, no matter how much you like her, if she somehow harming you spiritually or morally, you need to get away from this person to prevent you, to protect you. And to help them as we can, if we notice that they need something material or spiritual. Okay, it's wrong spiritual. That's fine. Sometimes there are things that we can do to a person, especially when it's material things. It's easier, it's a lot easier. And sometimes, even in spiritual, you can give some advice or even to listen, because sometimes a person just needs to talk to someone. If you listen, you can get some of the weight from her shoulders. So let's always be helpful to everyone. And let's talk about vices and passions. What is a vice? A vice is every harmful act that deviates us from our correct functions, causing wear of energy, resources, and loss of time without producing good and progress. So let's think that everything in our lives that is somehow making us lose our time, something that's not producing any good, we need to reconsider it. Of course, there are many vices, and we cannot just think about drugs and what else, and alcohol, games, smoking. But there are other things that can consider a vice. For example, gossip is a huge vice and is a huge loss of time. And I think almost everyone has this vice. And so complaining is a vice. I bet you know, everyone knows a person that always complains about everything. Everything. It doesn't matter. She's always going to complain. So it's a vice, and many vices. So everything that's not helping us anyway, let's try to discard from our lives. Passion is the excess or loss of control on feelings and emotions. If there is something in our lives that controlling us, you need to cut, because you have to be always on control of everything. Your emotions, everything, because this is the balance that we are always looking for as a person, as a spiritual. Let's remember, we are spirits with a body. We are not a body with a spirit. We are spirits. We are immortals. Our body is just like a clothes, something that you're going to use for some time, but you're going to discard. So we need to control. We always have to be on control of everything in our lives. So, the body as a temple. So as a control, as a part of our balance, we need to see our body as a temple. Jesus said, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will rebuild it. He was talking about his body, but he was talking because he was always serving God. His body was his temple because he was always following God. He's always serving. He used his body to serve God. We need to have this idea. We need to protect our bodies. We need to be very careful with our bodies, with our everything that we eat, we drink, and not just what the material things, that the food and the drink, the sleep that we need, and exercise, because our body needs to be constantly working, and our thoughts, because you can have very venomous thoughts to your body, and you can get sick from your thoughts. So always think your body as a temple, not in the way that you need to achieve perfection, because no one is perfect, but we need to take care of our bodies to achieve the balance that we need, because we need the balance in the spiritual, but we need the balance in the material world, because we are here in the material world. We need this. And our virtues. So let's think about our virtues. What is a virtue? To be open to do good. A virtuous person is a person that is always open to do good things to people, to be better. So let's cultivate humility, honesty, kindness, sincerity, loyalty, and perseverance. We need to be optimists that every day is going to be a new opportunity. And if today I fail, tomorrow maybe I don't. We need to be optimists that everything's going to be better, because time can have this power over things. Everything can be changed if we want to. So we need to be always open to do good things. We need to be always paying attention around us, because we always find an opportunity to do good. There is always someone needing some help, material help, spiritual help. There is always an opportunity to become better. There is always an opportunity to learn something new. It's infinite. So this is important for us to be a virtual person. Prayer. Prayer is the most important thing for us here on earth, because it's the only way to communicate with the superior spiritual plan. So establish a connection with it. Not just the words that keep coming from our mouth, but the prayer with your heart. You need to pay attention in what you are saying. You need to feel what you're saying, what you're asking, or what you're being grateful. And you feel the connection. You get connected with God because God is everywhere. It's His energy. And once you pray, you get connected to this energy. So the prayer is very important. It's the best way to watch our everyday by praying. When you pray, you get connected and you're going to receive the good direction, inspiration, and everything. If you don't have the habit of praying, it's so much easier for you to get connected to the other side. So much easier because we are already on that level of vibration, because we are inferior. We are not there yet. That's why we are in this planet. So we need to constantly try to get higher with our vibration. Praying. And I think that's it. So let's watch. Let's be vigilant. It's so many things. It's so much every time, every minute, every second. But we need to try, because if we want to follow what the doctrine says, we need to try. We need to try to be away from our bad tendencies. If I know that I am vain, I need to work this. I need to try to be humble. If I know that I am full of pride, I need to do something about it. I need to see that this is not right. And that's how we are going to start evolving morally. It doesn't depend on other people. It depends on you. It's only you. Only you can do this for yourself. Like Alberto always says, when we go to the other plane, when we disincarnate, it's only us. Our father, our mother, our husband, our wife. Nobody's gonna be with us. It's just us. We are alone. It's just us. What we did with the time that we were here, what we did with our learning, if we learned something, with the examples that we had, the opportunities that we had. And don't be afraid when someone says, oh, you are a spiritist. Don't think about. Don't feel sad or hurt. Think that that person doesn't understand, probably because she doesn't know anything about it, so it's hard. Don't waste your time trying to explain, because if she wants to know, she's going to ask you. If she doesn't ask you, don't waste your time. And be, how can I say? Have this true with you. What? Be patient with everyone and believe in you. Believe in the opportunities that you are having now. And follow your heart. Try your best, even though we are not going to be like Jesus. Just one day. Not now. But we can follow Him. And we can learn from Him. So, let's do. Any doubts? A lot? Me too. Yeah, we never know. The more we learn, the more we know that we don't know. So, that's it.